Today we're gonna be reading the Sonic.exe creepypasta. Yup, you got the video I made 2 days ago to 5 likes. So yeah, I know I'm a little late, but cut me some slack. I need a break every once in a while. So yeah, let's just read this. I think this is like the new one, or I don't know if this is the old one or the new one, but yeah. Let's just read this. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. Oh my freaking gosh! I liked how you get to explore towns in it. Until I noticed out of my peripheral vision that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing that was in the mailbox was a CD case for computers. I took a look inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that. Who had I heard from? Oh my freaking gosh! I cannot talk. Whom I haven't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I realized his handwriting, though it was weird how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him, but do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it, please. Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird, even though Kyle was my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it was just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looked like any ordinary computer CD-R disc, except it had black marker on it written Sonic.exe, and it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from someone else, like pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I liked the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place when I pressed start. There was a split second when I saw the title image turn into something much different. Something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red like blood, except it looked hyper realistic. But the freakiest thing that was in that split second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with two. Oh my freaking gosh, TikTok. Okay, just ignore that. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with two glowing red dots staring right at me. His smile had stretched Rider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured that it was just a glitch and forgot about it. After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save file from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, what the frick? What is this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was dark, cloudy sky of the Bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was the creepy caverns of winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. And the image for the save file where you get to see the preview of the level you just saw on is just red static for all 3 files. What really freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in the classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized this wasn't a glitchy game. It was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It looked really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared. I told myself that it was just a hacked game, and there was nothing wrong with it. Anyway, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. When I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds. I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful like the Keyfoot guy from Final Fantasy before getting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more. Then it showed the typical levels and everything, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only Hill Act 1. The screen faded and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and Tails started running like he would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running around the level. There was nothing but flat ground and few trees for 5 minutes. That's when the peaceful music started to lower down and into slow, deep tones, very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals laying dead on the ground, bleeding. That's when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked, saddened look on his face. Never seen him have before. So I had to move along and kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals. As Tails moved past him, looking more and more worried as the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. It looked like somebody killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hung on a tree with appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out of his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed after the music stopped. Tails was running up a hill and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen with his back against Tails with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered. Obviously noticed that Sonic wasn't responding to him. If not acting as he was totally oblivious to Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and he noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard, making him move. So this had to have been a cutscene. Suddenly I began a growing feeling of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was gonna happen. I heard a faint static growling louder. Tails was but inches away from Sonic. Stuck his hand out to touch him. That foreign feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes, and they were black with those red glowing dots, just like that title image, though there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black and the static sound was off. Stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then a white text appeared, forming a message. Hello, do you want to play with me? At this point, I was creeped out, but I didn't want to continue the game. But my curiosity got the better of me, and when I was taken to a different level with the level title now saying hide and seek. This time I was in Angel Island level from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything was on fire. Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits at this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as he wanted to get out the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out. Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pressed down the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from SA2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again. The awful Kiefer laugh right after 10 seconds had passed as I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful droning jingle as I seen Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining up on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose, Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic and he has the black and red eyes again only. This time he had more deranged looking grin on his face. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained on him. Suddenly when Tails tripped, another cutscene. The music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails lay there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch as I kinda teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down from the blackened eyes of Sonic at Sonic's as he grinned slowly. His grin slowly grew from his face. As he looked down at the horrified fox, I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The title returned, only this time it said, "You're too slow. Want to try again?" And then I heard that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked, but what happened? Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why would Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as well as it brought me back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the screen cut to black again. Stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time, the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out now, by now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or hack or some kind of sick, twisted joke or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The level looked much different. It had underground scrap brain zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the dark reddish cloud sky. But it was the music that freaked me out the most. It sounded like Gaga's themed right after you beat Pokemon Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid just like Tails did, though not as much. More rather, he looked a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails and looked at me as sure if he wasn't sure what was going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in the dark level and he did as the screen started to flicker red static a couple times, and then that maddening laugh came again. Then, after a few seconds running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear, thinking something horrible is going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated walking down this blood-stained road, but it still kept him going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but a black screen with text saying "Found you," I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, the high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1, which final boss was playing. Was this kind of boss battle with Sonic? Hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but then Sonic vanished in black pixelated smoke before I could even land the hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again. And then Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and even felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He's playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell on his knees, clutched his head sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving crazy. And then, in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black, with another distorted, screeching noise that lasted for at least 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? What the heck? Just what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray, but his dreadlocks were dripping blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. And he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are actual characters trapped in those TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap, wishing I hadn't, because then I began having the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under light giving off by a lamp that hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," and "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as they heard Sonic laughing. His laugh, it sounded a lot like the distorted Kiva laugh. You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle, though he didn't last long. I was scared and looked aloud for the source of the voice. Won't be long until you join him. my stupid freaking recorder shut off again. And I don't really know where I was, so yeah, let me just continue. I was scared and looking around for the source of the voice. Won't be long now until you join him and all my other friends. I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out several directions. You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others. When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red eye, grinning face. I woke up with a fright. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to know. I needed to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik next. Still thought it was wreck playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title appeared again, and this time it said ... which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. It didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it was pixelated. It had the pixelated style. The floor was shiny and checkered. The walls were dark grayish purple with animated candlelight and a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, the red curtain would sway very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant, a piano playing a rather sad yet peaceful song, but I knew better. This was the song that played in Hill Act 1, only it wasn't in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation and just left him standing. He turned his head to the left and then to the right at least twice and then shrugs at me, as if he has no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He does his usual running animation, when you beat him at the end of a classic Sonic game after you chase him. As we continued going through the hallway. Then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downward. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself, though I pressed onward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed the walls had gotten darker and more reddish. The reddish torches were now an eerie blue. They were landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one is much longer. It took at least a full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kifka laugh again, and then the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As they did, the walls turn more dark red. Torches were now a black flame now. When Robotnik landed on the third hallway, I noticed he now looked really creeped out. So he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped out right in front of Robotnik the same way he did Knuckles and the red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds and then showed me the most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic of Sonic standing in the darkness where you could only see his face while his head and torso faded into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean it looked so real you could actually see the lines in the blue fur. You could actually feel the fur if you touched it through the screen. His face, oh God. He had the most horrifying smile I've ever seen. And that's saying something, considering saw the image at the start of the game. His eyes are wide and black, once again crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic. And there were two small glowing red dots in the black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the side of his face, looking like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs. very sharp fangs, much like the werehog's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and fangs as he ate some animal. I stared at the gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eye off of it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face. It just took 10 seconds for it to etch itself to my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again 3 times. The third time, I heard the Kefka laugh, except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time there was text again, though it was messed up. They pretty much the horrifying things I looked at since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read this message while looking at Sonic when it hit me. I realized right there and then that Sonic was a monster, pure evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster, and all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys. And the game is the very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world, and the very heck of his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly, his mouth open to a natural relief, revealing nothing but literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again. This time it was much louder and distorted, so loud it hurt my ears. I gotta go for a second. Okay, I'm back. My freaking gosh. Okay, hold on. Where was I? Okay, I was probably like right here. Startling in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open, to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but a literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again. This time much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped and showed nothing but a black screen. As I sat there staring at the black screen, one last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kefka laughed, now sounding more clear as if Sonic was right behind me, played again 3 times as I looked at the text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu, and this time the third save file had a TV image of Robotnik at the same time, and it stayed as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin had turned a dull gray, and his mustache drooped and blackened. His glasses broken and blood was coming from them, and he had a weird dead-like expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik and cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by the horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Ignore the ad. Then the computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people to play his game in more ways than one, and then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game. Literally drags you to heck, where he can play with you always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie smiling with bloodstains under its eyes. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Bye.